Today is not really a news issue per se. It's about the crisis going on in Myanmar right now, the political crisis. And it's about a comment that I keep getting under my YouTube videos about the crisis in Myanmar, about Aung San Suu Kyi, and about her followers and their extremist, racist, and violent tendencies toward the Rohingya in Myanmar, the Rohingya people who live in Myanmar. And I get comments like this one here. This is not true. Rohingya is not even an ethnic group in our country. The military coup is trying to oppress the whole country. You should research first before talking about the other country easily. I get comments like this all the time from Aung San Suu Kyi's supporters. They are as irrational, ignorant, and extreme as the mobs here in Thailand. They don't care what the truth is. They've been brainwashed to think a certain way. And even if you try to point out at face value how little sense what they're saying makes, they don't care. So I actually responded to this comment and I told them that the Rohingya are people who live in Myanmar. They literally live there, which makes them an ethnic group that lives in Myanmar, in their country. That is a fact. You cannot say they're not an ethnic group in your country if they're living in your country and they're an ethnic group. At face value, it makes zero sense. I get other comments about how they're invaders from Bangladesh. And if we just look at the map, here's Myanmar, here's Bangladesh, there's the border, okay? And anyone who has ever done any traveling in their life near a border, they see people crossing that border all day. There are people from one side of the border that will cross in, do business during the day, and then cross back because they have a house, a home in the other country. And this has happened over centuries. And sometimes these people decide to settle on the other side of the border. If you go near the border, if you look at the features of the faces of the people who have lived there for generations, their faces reflect the proximity to that border and to those other groups of people on the other side of the border. Sometimes dialect in the local language reflects that proximity. This is something that if you go along the borders of Thailand, you will notice, near Cambodia, near Laos, near Myanmar. Would we say that there's people from Myanmar are not an ethnic group in Thailand? They are. There's people from Myanmar who live in Thailand who make up the demographics of Thailand. And to just say, well, they're all just invaders and we need to chase them out everywhere we find them, that's extremist. That's racist. That's irrational. And that is not compatible with the fantasy world of pro-democracy, human rights, and freedom that Aung San Suu Kyi's followers also pretend they care about and are interested in. And as you're looking at these pictures of these racist extremists, some people are going to say these are not the people who support Aung San Suu Kyi. But look at that comment. I get comments like that every single day. I have been arguing with these people for years. This is the support base of Aung San Suu Kyi. This is not even debatable. And you are going to see these exact same people that you see here in these pictures out in the streets now protesting against Myanmar's military for ousting Aung San Suu Kyi. That very comment is someone who hates Rohingya and supports Aung San Suu Kyi and opposes what the military did, ousting her from power. What's going on in Myanmar, I mean, if you look at this comment, these people are just racist. They're just racist extremists. They don't want these people in their country, period. They don't even want to recognize that they're in their country. A lot of these people, the Rohingya, have been in Myanmar for generations. You could say, well, the British brought them in generations ago. Well, that doesn't change the fact that they've been there for generations. There's another catch right there. You're blaming the British Empire for the Rohingya crisis, but then you're complaining about the military uprooting Aung San Suu Kyi, who has been installed into political power by Anglo-American modern-day colonialism. So do you see how the opposition in Myanmar, these followers of Aung San Suu Kyi, how their brains have just been scrambled to all four corners of their head, where They're racist extremists on one hand. They're crying about human rights on the other hand. They will hunt down and kill Rohingya one day and then complain about the military cracking down on them on another day. And they will blame the British Empire for the problems they have with the Rohingya, but then they will embrace Anglo-American imperialism today. This is your opposition in Myanmar. This is why, the country wasn't going to go anywhere with Aung San Suu Kyi and these people following her. It's unlikely that it can go anywhere anyway, because the US has infected almost every corner of society in Myanmar through the National Endowment for Democracy. This is a warning to Thailand and other countries in ASEAN. This is what happens when you don't effectively deal with these NGOs, with these opposition movements being built up from abroad, backed by foreign interests. This is what you're going to get. You're going to have an entire population of people who think like this, and your country will never function, because part of divide and conquer is dividing people. If you can divide ethnic Burma with Rohingya and all the other tribes, and you have them all fighting, this is how the British conquered Myanmar in the first place. This is why they were unable to conquer Thailand. Thailand had unity under the monarchy, still does. Other countries in Southeast Asia weren't so lucky. And if you look inside their societies today, you can see how the British divided everybody against each other. That was what they did everywhere. So let people like this, these irrational, racist, bigoted extremists, let them be a warning. This is what happens to your country when it gets divided and conquered. Don't let it happen to your country. So not really a news issue, but I think it's relevant to news. It's context that will help you understand the situation in Myanmar a little bit better. For my Patreon patrons who make these videos possible, thank you so much for that support. It means a lot. To everyone else helping me in every way, even if you're just liking and sharing my videos, if you're subscribing to my channel, which helps it grow, if you're sending kind words, or you're looking in the video description for other ways that you can help support my work, it's all greatly appreciated. Every little bit helps. And as always, thank you for watching.